Hey everybody, welcome back to Majestic Collectibles. First off, thanks to everyone that came and saw me at the QuadCon Des Moines at Merle Hay Mall over the weekend. Good to see most everybody again. It's been a while. Won't have another QuadCon in Des Moines until I believe it's November. So there's going to be a big gap in between shows here in Des Moines for that. And I think the next QuadCon I have is Sioux Falls, April 19th, up at the Ramkota Inn. I'm trying to figure it out that way from where I'm sitting. So stop by and see me there. I think that's an admission show. I think it's like $5 to get in, or it was last year. Just so you know, and that's the day before Easter, the Saturday before Easter. So a couple of quick updates. The eBay Facebook mashup. I'm still figuring that out. Listed a bunch of oddball stuff yesterday. Some GI Joe. Put on some comic books. Put on some art books like airbrush, pinup, fairy fantasy stuff. I listed that, and sure enough, about 4 hours later, I checked it on the phone app again, checked Facebook, and it gave me a whole new set of suggestions. And I can tell you, 100% right now, whatever you're searching for on eBay, that's going to show up in your feed. Now, this was interesting because I did get some more vintage stuff. Again, for Star Wars, some older stuff. So just like the G.I. Joe, it started out new, and then it later on it must have caught up, and it gave me some vintage pieces. I haven't seen any comic books listed. I didn't list very many. I'm going to list more today, so we'll see if that influences things. This pinup book thing that I listed, it was just an art book. Nothing weird or anything, 18 plus, but nothing, just pinup stuff. I got some really interesting suggestions on the from eBay on the Facebook app. So I'm just warning you right now: if you search for that type of material, you're going to get it. It's going to show up on your Facebook app. And the stuff I got, I couldn't believe it was actually on eBay. Okay, as strict as they supposedly are with their grown-up stuff. They were sending me, and it had nothing to do with books. It was homemade custom statues. There was a playing card deck, just all sorts of kind of oddball grown-up stuff, and it was not pinup stuff. So I don't know what to tell you there. Just be aware if you're scrolling through your Facebook app on the phone someplace, and you search for that on eBay, you might have some not safe for work stuff show up depending where you're at. So fair game. Was not expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Anyway, covers. So this is another topic from my friend Corey up in Coley Collectibles, and I'm just going to read it to you again. Let's see. Oops, I got to find the right. There it is. The importance of cover art. Is there a magic formula to an eye-appealing cover? Well, art is in the eye of the beholder. Always has been. That's never going to change. However, I think it's safe to say that comics, magazines, print publishing in general has had a very long and I would say fruitful relationship with the female form. Okay, so pinup covers. Man, for decades, way before I've been around even. Okay, so that's pretty old, right? So I think if you have to hit on a magic formula, that's certainly the one that has been I would say chosen or selected. And you go into an LCS today, a local comic shop, and I don't really buy comics anymore. I haven't for a long time because I think the writing is garbage. But it's pretty obvious that the current publishers are emphasizing this, because there's not one, there's not two, there's not three, there's usually 4 or 5 different covers on every single comic. And I would say the vast majority have that pinup look. Does it work? Well, I mean, gosh, it must, or they wouldn't do it right. But that's not to say I think the covers today are as good as the covers in the past. Because they really have this kind of stale look, very static, not very dynamic on most of these pinup covers. Kind of, I call them influencer covers. They look like the eye candy photos that pop up, on social media, where there's nothing going on, but there's this really pretty gal posing for no particular reason, and that's kind of how the covers have gone. I don't know. That, to me, I struggle with that. And I'm going to give you an example. So I picked this up at the QC Toy Show in East Moline, probably about 3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago. And I picked it up for $1. Cam likes the Psylocke character. But I'd say this is pretty typical of a lot of covers. It's not quite as, I guess, grown up as some covers I've seen. But it's still pretty typical. You know, you've got the pretty girl, and then you have a pink background with pastel purple butterflies. What's going on here? I don't know. I mean, it's pretty. It's good to look at. This is kind of what I grew up on, was right here. Frank Thorne. These covers always sell. I've said this before when I've got collections in. They're not big dollars. But the Red Sonja book, okay, there's no pink background. There's no pastel purple butterflies. There's an angry, I guess in this one, bear god thing. Now, how she got in that predicament, I have no idea. But to me, this is pretty cool, to be honest with you. I really like this cover. Is it pin-up? Yeah. Does it you know, get the 12-year-old male juices flowing? Well, yeah. But there's something going on here, right? I mean, there is a story. They're giving a little snippet. They used to send the scripts to the artists so they could do this very thing, right? Something else, you know, there's no word balloons on this one, but rarely do you see in the modern books any type of writing. They even have the virgin covers without even the title on it. So, you know, the magic formula, I guess, I don't know if evolves quite the right word, to be honest with you, because I don't know. I like this style better because there's actually a story there to go with the eye candy. This tells me nothing about the character, about the situation, about what might be in there. It's just kind of a fluff cover, and she's not, you know, this is pretty common. Here's a little older book, Black Cat, very popular right now. This isn't her most popular cover, but a popular character. Again, a lot of pinup covers, just a couple of cats and a Spider-Man cat ball. You know what's going on there? I have no idea. So, you know, the formula is definitely different. I'm going to show you a couple of more pinup books, and these are older. So a guy that's gotten pretty hot right now called Dave Stevens. Of course, he's passed quite a while ago, so there's nothing new coming out, unfortunately. But he did a lot of pinup stuff. But he was also really good with his cover composition, the angles, the backgrounds, the telling of a story, of something that had to do with the comic inside. Rocketeer, Betty Page, any of his stuff, honestly, is you know, I think really good. And it's one of the reasons he's popular today, not just that he's a great pinup artist, but his cover composition is actually pretty amazing. So we're going to start with the Airboy, famous, infamous, I don't know, famous pinup cover. This book, I'm not kidding you, it is thin. There are not very many pages in this book. It was a weekly. You can see the price on it. So you know, to give this kind of cover art to you know, almost a throwaway book, pretty good, pretty darn good. You know, very popular cover. Here's another one, Dave Stevens, Vanguard. This one's more of your pinup because it, you know, there's a story there. You got here. Let me move my fat fingers out of the way there, because you got Dave Stevens. You know, you got Airboy in the bottom, Valkyrie's, you know, standing over him with the gun and all that. What's going on there? So it is more of a fluff pinup than a lot of his stuff. But you look at the Vanguard, definitely a Star Wars-esque cover, you know, getting on the Falcon or whatever, and a lot of action, a lot of movement going on. Really good composition, really good full background. And again, he did both of these. Guess what? Not a lot of pink or purple pastel, right? There's something to be said for that. Other covers. So I don't buy a lot of comics, but I still pick up some of the new sci-fi horror. Cam just came home yesterday. The Universal Monsters series, which has had darn light, which has had some killer covers on them, guys. Really, really good. They've also had some really lousy ones. So here's something that's interesting: blank covers. So you can pay a lot of times extra for nothing, for just white. I do like these though because I can take them to shows and things and have an artist. Doesn't have to be the guy that did the original cover, but if you got a character you like and there's an artist that doesn't draw them a lot, it's the only way you're going to get it. Not cheap. Most of these guys, you're 50 to hundreds of dollars just for a black and white sketch. Just depends who's doing it. But I do like those for that, so that's a lot of fun. But even this book, if you're a fan of the movie, it's kind of out of the original Boris Karloff movie back in the 30s. The scene is it's still a pinup book. What's going on? Why is this guy got teepeed and standing in a doorway? So it's still got that pinup composition versus that old school storytelling composition. So even though I like this cover, it really isn't much different than the Psylocke. It's just a guy standing there in a bunch of rags. Here's another one that's same series. This is Creature of the Black Lagoon from the Universal Monsters. And it's interesting, but again, what's going on, right? Kind of got the claw. I guess supposed to be ominous, but it's still just that pinup influencer. Frame it really, really tight, right? Like right in your face, and you don't know what else is going on around there. Here's a bit of a throwback. This was I believe it was a 6-part series, EC homage, Cruel Universe. Had I don't know if they were Wally Wood necessarily-esque covers, but definitely had a lot more going on for them. Really, really good quality art. You can see it's kind of got an asymmetrical diagonal design on this one, but still there's a story, there's composition, there's kind of it's just got a lot going for it versus like the influencer cover. So I really like that. That's a pretty good run of covers actually. Even my beloved Godzilla, which what year is this? This isn't super new. I'm gonna pop it out just to give you a time frame on it. And this is the Lost in Time Godzilla Runs Amok, and let's see, 1996. So basically, it's almost a 20-year-old book. But you can see even back then, it's just kind of got that that pinup thing going, right? Just a headshot, mugshot kind of deal. Now I like this because I'm a Godzilla fan, but not a lot going on here. He's not stomping through a city, he's not squishing people, he's not fighting another monster. So again, kind of that. I don't know if I want to call it blah, because the quality of artwork is really, really good, but the composition, how it's put together, has really, really changed. Here's another modern book. I picked it up just because Doom is hot, but it's Spider-Gwen. And Cam, my son, also likes Spider-Gwen. A little more going on here, as far as the composition goes, but not a lot. So again, very kind of up close, in your face, art composition, kind of deal, and it's okay. I mean, I don't want to rag on them too much. To me, this is a much better cover though. In the Wonder Woman, you've got a lot of, it's still kind of got that in your face composition, but you got why is she fighting Superman? Why are they in the mountains? What's going on here? It's not, I guess I wouldn't call it in a pinup book, right? It's not really in that vein, but it's a really, really good cover. And let's see if I got the year on this, 2005 on that one. But really, really good cover art. At least there's something going on, something to do with the story. This was really popular. Now, I've always been a fan of Innovation books, and if you like pinup covers, I got to tell you, boy, Innovation's got a lot of really, really good airbrush kind of pinup covers. Olivia DeBerardinis did this one. Classic pinup artist through all the 80s, probably late 70s to early 90s. She still has her own website. Last I saw, you can still get stuff from her. And this is, I don't know, I guess I call it like a high class pinup, you know, where it's really fine detail, it's really high quality, but there's no background, and the focus is definitely on, you know, the pinup, right? And so this is a theme, and I could go back a long time with some of these pinup covers, and of course they've, you know, the quality's gotten a lot better over the years on that. But I kind of wanted to show you just a few other examples here, because I've been kind of dumping on the new stuff for pinups, but there's some old stuff. So here's a Jack Kirby. This is FF72, and it's got a splash cover, pinup cover. It's Silver Surfer, not female. It's got the Watcher in the background. Pretty cool cover. Don't know what's really going on, you know, but most people would consider this a pretty classic cover. So, you know, this composition, even though I think it's overused in today's comic covers, because it's on 90% of them, maybe more, it was used a long time ago, okay? And so it was effective, but I don't think it was overused, is what I'm saying there. So it's not like the composition idea is somehow new. This is kind of the stuff I'm into. I absolutely love Marvel's crossover books. You've got kind of this monster book with the Human Torch on it and Strange Tales. And of course, the early Strange Tales did not have superheroes. That's the stuff I really like. This is really good. I don't know if you want to call it a transition cover. You know, when they were on their way to, you know, changing over to the superhero storyline versus the monsters. One of my favorite covers, though. Absolutely gorgeous cover. A lot going on. What the Human Torch is doing in the middle of that mess, I have no idea. But I got to tell you, as a kid, I want to find out, right? So something like that is more enticing to get me to buy a comic than today's pinup stuff, because, man, there's just so much of it on that. Here's another one, and this is a great cover too. Not my favorite, but I think it's very iconic. And again, this is pinup style from the 60s. It's Silver Age. It's got Cap and Iron Man on it. What are they doing? I don't know. Now, the one thing they give you on this cover is you got the word balloon, you got some editors, you know, note boxes, stuff like that. You don't see, I don't even know the last time I saw that on a modern comic. So you can get you know, extrapolate a little bit. But they saved this for a big deal, right? I mean, this is a splash cover. This was kind of a big deal cover, because it says, big news, starting in this issue, 2 big features. So that's why they did it. That's why they focused on those two characters. Another one that I think doesn't have as many words as maybe typical of the era, but a lot of action going on. It kind of makes you go, what the heck? I got to find out how this is, you know, how this came about and how this is happening. And that's right there. And that's another just fantastic cover. Of course, I like it because it's got Dragon Man, so it's got kind of a monster cover, you know, theme going in it. But fantastic cover, fantastic composition. You don't have a full background, but you do have quite a bit in the background, quite a bit going on there. Tells a story, all right? Calamity on the campus. How the heck did this happen? I don't know, but I got to read it and find out. This is I just picked this up actually from my friend Russ Manning at the Minicon. It's an early John Byrne cover, and I'm going to take this out. Well, I wanted to glare, but this sleeve has to go. This is an early John Byrne cover. There's a lot going on here. And I think John Byrne, one of the reasons, Dave Cockrum too, Neil Adams, this kind of bronze, early copper era guys, really knew how to tell a story on a cover. And this is Doomsday +1. This is not his FF stuff. This is not a mainstream title. In fact, I would say a lot of even Byrne fans aren't aware of this. But it was a great book, great cover, not... Well, let's see, what time? 75, that's what he's got it dated in. Right there. Doomsday +1. Fantastic, fantastic cover on that. That's an early John Byrne cover. Most people probably would not recognize that as a John Byrne cover. He hadn't quite settled in, I think, to his signature look, let's say, on it. But absolutely fantastic cover, fantastic composition, tells a story. Yeah, $5 maybe for like a killer copy, right? So you can find one. I don't know. You can find them 50-cent dollar boxes if they're rough, but if you want a decent copy of that, it's not going to run you a whole lot of money. $3. That's what. And Russ probably knowing Russ, he probably cut me a deal on that. So yeah, not an expensive book. Here's another thing. You saw a pre-comics code, and this is actually a comics code book, which has me really. Somebody was sleeping at the Comics Code Authority that day. I'll tell you this. I showed you this book before. This is also I picked it up from Russ. Just a wild cover. They were obviously back in the day. Let me get the year 1967. Obviously trying to attract any type of audience they could with this one. It's just a wild cover. I'd say it's an innuendo cover, but it's really kind of more blatant than that. But here we go. Captain Marvel presents the Terrible Five. That thing is probably maybe a little too busy. I mean, there's too much going on, on the sides and stuff. I mean, yeah, okay. That is definitely the definition of a crotch rocket right there. You know what I'm saying? So the crudeness has kind of gone out of the pinup cover stuff. At least they're a little more elegant or subtle or sophisticated about it, even though there's still these type of covers. But this is just an in-your-face cover. And I don't know, I call it a good old-fashioned Neanderthal throwback cover. You see some of the Golden Age and Atomic Age crime covers. Charlie Bureau in particular, he's got people shooting and dead in the street and blood coming out, and obviously that was pre-code. But how this thing made it, how that thing made it past the code, I have no idea. Here's again more up my alley. I'm going to take this out because this is Mylar, so this is definitely going to sparkle a little bit. And I guess I don't have a year on this. This is kind of, I don't know. This is kind of more of your what you see today, and that's kind of why I picked it. So again, it's kind of got that pin-up, in-your-face perspective. What's going on there? I don't know. Is this a guy? Is this a werewolf? You look at his hands and go, oh, this is a werewolf or something. So, this is, I don't know if it was atypical, but you didn't, on your mainstream books, I think you got a lot more sophisticated composition. I think on some books that maybe didn't sell as well, or the artist just took the check, maybe. You didn't get quite that action sophisticated thing. This almost is, well, not almost, it's really a romance comic cover. So they were kind of a different style. Archie covers had their own composition and style. Romance comics had their style, and this to me is a romance book cover from this era, from the late Silver Age, early Bronze Age era. And they just basically, added some claws and fur to the guy's hands. But to me, this was a romance cover kind of thing from that era. Not a bad cover. Also, in my opinion, not a great cover. But I'm a horror fan, and I grew up buying the Witching Hour stuff. That's number 22. So I needed that for my collection to complete the run. But it's not one I probably would have gone out and grabbed for the cover. Now here's one that if you're talking Bronze Age horror comics, I think this is very, very, very much the style and composition for DC, Marvel, pretty much any of them. Now this is Atlas, which lasted about 5 minutes, okay, but they had some just awesome sci-fi and horror covers on their books. Planet of the Vampires covers, really amazing. And here we go. I got to be careful. This is a fairly high grade book, black cover. Again, not too expensive, but very typical, I would say, of a lot of Bronze Age horror books, whether it be Marvel, DC, or whatever. And the composition there, you've got your whole triangle composition. Not a lot of background. They want the Dracula figure to come out, from the foreground towards you, and then the son of Dracula and the blonde. Most of them are blonde, not all of them, but a lot of them. Down there, not a lot of words, so not a lot of text on the cover, but really great cover composition. And even though that's centered, it's not that in-your-face influencer type of cover. So the magic formula, if you will, has definitely evolved. Now, where they're going to go from here, I don't know. I really don't, because, for probably 20 plus years, this has really turned into this influencer pin-up fluff kind of cover setup. And there's certainly not all of them. I mean, you can go in, there's covers without the pin-up aspects, but not very many. Not like it used to be. And I don't know. I think the companies, obviously are trying to sell issues. The publishers are trying to get this stuff out the door. And it's a struggle. I think they're grasping at straws a little bit by doing all these variant covers and all these variant pinup covers that kind of look the same month to month to month. So where this is going to go cover comp wise, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting though. One thing I have noticed, I'm going to end on this, is they do reprint. DC has been really good about this. Both companies do, but DC has been reprinting some really classic Silver Bronze Age covers, including their giant, the Hulk Batman, the Treasury size, the giant one. And people are really buying those, and they're paying a premium. A lot of those are $8, $9, $10. I think the $20 for the Treasury edition size. And I've asked, why, why is this appealing to you? I mean, this is, not stuff that most people are reading when they're in their 20s, right now, and they love the cover art. And I think it's got a classic look, it's high quality, but it's different. The composition is different. It tells a story, and the cover art today doesn't really perform that function. All right, they want you to get 1, 2, 3, 4 different covers of the same issue every month, and the writing has been inconsistent. I think that's a big problem. The books are so thin; there's no pages in there. I mean, it's pretty hard to have a self-contained story with that few of pages. So I don't know. We'll see how this cover thing susses out. I think the industry's in for some big changes in general this year. The comic industry and print publishing of the comics. So what this is going to lead to be the covers, I don't know. I don't know what the formula is going to be going forward, but I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So I think right now they pretty much settled on that influencer pinup kind of fluff eye candy cover, if you will, and I think that's going to stay. I don't care what the book is. My son Cam, he's in his 20s. He's complained he's a Spider-Gwen fan, and he picked up, I can't even remember what the book was, but it had Spider-Gwen on the front. She wasn't in the book. They had a Spider-Gwen cover, and I think she had like one little cameo in one page and a couple of panels. But they dressed it up, and that's what they call it, trade dress. If you get the trades, the hardcovers, the square bound stuff, you don't even know if that character's got much to do with anything in the story. And I think that leads to a lot of disappointment among the buyers and collectors and things in today's market. So hopefully they'll get back to a happy medium. I don't know. That's just me. So let me know your thoughts, especially if you're a younger comic buyer and reader. Do the covers work? Do the pinup covers get your motor running to buy it? Do you buy more than one cover? You know, do you buy 2, 3, 4, 5 covers? You know, let me know. I'm kind of curious to hear back on that. So that's it. That's all I've got now, guys. Thanks for watching.